let's talk about a key aspect of life and marketing that most people don't spend enough time thinking about. It's this: people buy from those you trust. And by the way, this trust factor becomes more and more important the more expensive the price of what you offer is. So if you're going to sell a $2 thing of toothpaste, yeah, they've got to trust you to know you're not going to poison them. But if you're going to sell them a $2,000 program to change their life, you've got to have a certain level of trust with them to get them ready to do that. And this is a major element in our marketing. A huge element of that trust is the question that they are asking themselves: are they, meaning you, like me? And this goes back to this core human desire, which is to belong to something. Go back into junior high school when you desperately wanted to belong to a group of people who would like you, who would care for you, who would defend you, who would do, and many of us wanted to have that be maybe higher up on the social chain than we might have been ourselves. And so we were constantly, even though we may belong to a certain group, what we'd really love to do is to belong to a higher social group that was still like the social group that we were with, but the social group we were with was not capable of being that cooler group. And so this whole element of wanting to belong got like hardwired into us in this highly emotion-filled, hormone-filled aspect of our lives, and it tends to continue on all throughout our life, even as we become adults. So let's go back to this question. Do they belong to my world? This is a question that's going through their mind. And do they belong to that world that I want? So what they really are looking for is for you to be part enough like them that they can trust you now, but enough unlike them that it's aspirational to where they want to be at some point in their future. Now, in this process of looking at do they belong to my world, less important in this entire equation is your demographics. You know, are they the same age, the same race, the same language, all those kinds of things? It's important, but it's not as important as some other factors. Much more important than that is what they really are asking is, does this person have similar belief state to my own? Now that belief state runs in multiple different levels, and we could spend hours going through and outlining and showing all this, the psychology of this. So part of this is the core values. Do they have the same, do they value the same things in life that I do? So some people may value family a great deal. Other people may value money and advancement a great deal. Others may value physical health. And most people value all of those elements to certain degrees, and some are more important than others in that process. And what they're really looking for is how you look at the world, and is that similar to them? I've found this to be incredibly true in my particular case, where I have a certain set of values, things that come across in my work and my clothing and my attitudes and the way I talk and everything else like that. And certain people are just drawn to that. And other people are absolutely repelled by that. It's like, no, Don's just not cool enough for me. He doesn't wear black t-shirts all the time, and or whatever that factor is. Now, part of this also is this whole concept of the ethics, that they want to know that your ethics are similar to them in all of those different areas. And then besides those core elements, now we get into the thing that most people think is the most important thing, which is how do you feel about your particular subject area? Is that similar to them or similar to where they want to go? Now, the reason why we started with the core values and then advanced to this is because this can be different than where they are, as long as you can make a compelling argument that they ought to believe this same way. But in the process of doing that, of convincing them that they ought to look at the world in your subject area this way, if you're off in the core values behind, it just doesn't work. And so therefore, we need to match those core values well to make this work. All right. Now, here's the way they go through the process of determining whether that feeling is going to work for them. What they do is they look at all the information that's available to them. And if they don't have other information about you, then they draw upon what they do have, which can include all kinds of things. If you're brand new to them, let's say they saw an ad and then they came right into your world and you're immediately giving them a sales pitch, they don't have anything to draw upon to decide whether your values are similar to theirs or not. And so then they start looking at all kinds of things, like they Google you, which may or may not be accurate. They may go and look at comments about you, which might be generated by your competition. And it's like, or they might find something in a social media that they take totally out of context, yet apply that into your core values. So I believe strongly in this process that it's better for them to have more information that they can draw from to establish this entire, does this person belong in my world, so they can make those assessments well and with a large amount of information to be able to make that decision. So I believe that if you want to be selling $2,000 courses, high consulting or coaching kind of contracts, that it's important for you to have a large amount of information out there that you control, that you put out to the world. So things like social media. Yes, I know it's hard and it struggles, and what's cool on social media may not be cool with what you do. And so you may not want to go all in on all the social media, but you probably ought to have some social media out there of some kind. Blog posts, those are key not only to show your core values, but also to show your perspective on your particular subject. One of the key ones that is vitally important is video. The beauty of video is that it not only, and by the way, I have no idea what this roaring is that's going on around me. I have no control about it. And so just sort of ignore that sound back there. Yeah, that one. Okay. And so, but the beauty of video is that video brings with it a whole bunch of micro clues that people rely upon in amazing ways that they can't get from other things. The way you talk, the expressions on your face, the emotions you portray, all the confidence that you have, all of those things give information that people will draw upon. That's one reason why I love doing video. Podcasts are another one, especially guest podcasts. When you are being interviewed by others, and as they go out and they Google to see who you are, and they find you not in your world, but in other people's world, interacting with them. Anytime you can get on somebody else's stage, that gives huge amount of information into this stream. Now, I'm getting close to it. I realize you may be getting impatient, but realize that, speaking of time during the actual sales process is also important with you, because they're trying to determine whether or not they should buy from you, and they need to see you more time than just a 5-minute quick video that says buy my stuff. So, and also be aware that your people are seen as you. So if you've got someone handling customer service, somebody doing social media on your behalf, if you've got people who are coaches or salespeople in this process, they're all seen as extensions of you. And they're looking at that and saying, do I belong in this person's world? Well, if these are the people they're hiring and they don't fit with my personal set of ethics, then I'm not interested. This is especially important if you hire people to sell your stuff for you. People want to belong. The question is, in the process of choosing who they want to belong with, are you their person in your particular category? Are you someone that they want to be able to say, hey, Don is my person to help me with this? That's your mission. So, key messages I want you to get out of all this. Number one, put content out into the world so that you have lots of inputs into their decision as to whether they belong with you, that you created, that you control. A caution: look at every communication that you make in light of this. There's a reason why I don't talk about politics. There's a reason I don't talk about many of the things that go on in the world that everyone's feeling a huge need to weigh in on, because there are people on the opposite side of however you feel, who feel very strongly on the opposite side. And I don't particularly want that to be part of the decision that they make, whether they want to buy stuff from me. In short, be open, be wise. Do those two things so you can get your information out. They can decide whether they belong with you or not, and they can develop the trust that's necessary for them to make the purchases that are necessary for you to continue to stay in business. What's your thought on this? Agree? Disagree? Wish it was different? Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.